Kingdom of God. It's a big deal in the Bible. In fact, we got these two very large books, 1st and 2nd Kings, and they're followed by 1st and 2nd Chronicles, the Chronicles of the Kings, preceded by 1st and 2nd Samuel, which is less about Samuel than it is about the first three kings, Saul, David, and Solomon. So the Old Testament's filled with literature about the kings. Then you go to the New Testament, Gospels. Dominant theme, Kingdom of God. Kingdom of God, it's everywhere. The epistles unpack the kingdom as it unfolds in the church, leading into Revelation, in this crescendo of the Bible, of the kingdom of God, when the true King of Kings comes again. So there you have it. Kingdom is a big deal in the Bible. Probably not as big a deal in your life or mine. Like, I've never been led by a king, neither of you. In fact, there are very few true kingdoms left in the world. So it's a foreign concept. So how is it practical? In this way. When the Bible talks about kingdom, it's really talking about leaders who are worthy of your trust. And that cuts very close to home. Who can we trust as a leader? How can we be leaders that other people can trust? That's what we want to get at through this discussion today about this core verse in 1 Samuel chapter 16, verse 7. I'm going to take you clear back to the beginning of the kingdom. Before there was a king in Israel, there were judges. The final judge was Samuel. But he had followed a long line of judges, Ehud, Deborah, Samson. And if you track their history, you realize that the protection that the judges gave got thinner and thinner. The enemies got larger and bolder. The failures of these judges got greater. So we're going downhill fast. And the people come to Samuel, and his own sons are not worthy to lead the nation. They all know that. They said, Samuel, we want a king. He blew a cork. God is your king. How dare you ask for another king? He was furious. He goes to God and says, God, you hear what these people are asking for? And God says, I know. Give them what they're asking for. It may not be what's best for them. It's not what I desire for them, but they're demanding it. So respectfully, I'm going to grant their request to lead them to a place where they get back to a true king of Jesus Christ. So he goes and anoints Saul as the first king, but he warns them, you know, if you have a king, the price is going to be higher than you think. He will take your sons as soldiers, your daughters as servants, your crops as taxes. He will extract a hefty price. They say, we're willing to pay for protection that we desire. Like, God can lead us into battle, I know, but we want a king with skin on. Everybody else has a king with skin on. We want a king like that. And that was their fatal flaw. And it's ours too. We may not call this a king, but when we put our trust in anything other than God, it will extract a heavier price than we expect to pay. Other leaders will always overpromise and underdeliver. You trust in money to make you secure? Yeah, it's going to cost you more than you think and give you less than you'd hoped. You want to trust in a relationship? It's going to cost you more than you think. It's going to offer you less than you hope. That is true for everyone other than God that we put our trust in. It was certainly true of Saul. The first king looked kingly. He was tall, he was handsome, he was strong. He looked like a king, but he failed miserably. And so God comes to Samuel and says, look, I want you to anoint another king. Go to the house of Jesse, and you're going to run through all 8 sons. Don't look on their outward appearance. Here's our core verse of the day. Do not look on his appearance or on the height of his stature, because I have rejected him. For the Lord sees not as man sees. Man looks on outward appearance, but the Lord looks at the heart. Here is the key characteristic of a leader worth following. He is a man after God's own heart. That doesn't mean we're perfect. Certainly not. David broke at least 6 of the 10 commandments. I suspect 7. What made him a man after God's own heart? It was not the heart he had. It was the heart he was after. So how can you tell if a leader is worth following? It's pretty simple. You want a man after God's own heart. And here is the litmus test. Some leaders lead by characteristics. Other leaders lead by character. And the difference is this. If you're leading by characteristics, you demand that people recognize your characteristics. It could be through a salary, could be through a title, it could be through deference or a seat at a table. But leaders leading by characteristics prop themselves up and self-support by declaring their characteristics. Leaders who lead by character, they don't need to declare. They don't need to brag. They don't need a title. They don't need a position. They simply do what God has called them to do. If you're looking for a leader worth trusting, or if you're looking to be a leader worth trusting, here's the key: to be a man after God's own heart.